Hello everyone, and welcome to chapter 110, 110, 110 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. Yay! Again, because of the OCD stuff, I really like it when it's a very good round number like that. This one is titled Tell Me Where You Are? Question mark. It's actually based on a reference to an Iranian song because it's one I've been listening for the past couple of days on a repeat. I'll get to why. The song is Besuye To by Dariush Rafi'i, and a part of it is the singer sings Begu Kojai, which means tell me where you are. And I'll get to that in a bit. First off, our drink. My drink today is some cherry syrup and water. Fantastic. And the thing about it is, the syrup is homemade, and my grandmother made it. So it's probably healthier than store bought syrups. I'm saying probably, I don't know the sugar contents of it. Anyways, the week that has passed had been incredibly weird. In terms of events, not much happened. I slept for a lot of it, but I also did a lot of other stuff, a lot of smaller stuff, bits that were actually made into bigger stuff now. I did a lot of writing. I wrote a couple of script synopses. I reworked a proposal. I reworked an article with my friend. And aside from that, what else did we do? I mean, like literally today, hours before, not even hours, I think an hour and a half before sitting down to record, I wrote the script based on the synopsis. So yeah, it's been a lot of writing, but overall, I've been in a slump. I slept for a lot of it, and generally, it hasn't been the best considering mental health, and that's where we get to the song. When I write, especially when I write scripts, in order to get an internal rhythm of the dialogue, like there needs to be a rhythm to your dialogue. If you're a writer and you listen to this, always try to maintain a rhythm. Even if that is, as I'm about to say, forced from an external rhythm. In this case, I tend to listen to songs. Like I listen to a song on repeat in order to get the rhythm. And the song I chose was, as I said, Besuyeto by Dariush Rafi'i because I felt a slower melody was very useful for this movie, which is very atmospheric. And I need to make a movie by the end of the week, like in a couple of hours. I'm recording this at 3 p.m. I wasn't awake to record it at the middle of the night, and in the morning I watched Taskmaster and wrote the script. So I'm doing this a bit late for my own taste. But in a couple of hours, I'll be talking to my teammates for the class that I need to make a movie for, and we'll be choosing a script, either this or another one written by my friend and Unimate. So I keep listening to this song, and at some point, I don't know if you've done it, you filter it out, just listen to it as well a rhythm. Like it's basically becomes one of those tick 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 thing that pianists have. I'm gonna just Google it. Time thing for musicians. Metronome. Yes, a metronome. It basically becomes a metronome for you to write your dialogue and like the events of your scripts based on that. So at some point, my brain began filtering it out, but again, due to some stuff that I'll be going into, it began to creep back, and at some point of it, I realized I'm listening to what the song is saying, and I did not like it. Not that it's a bad song, it's actually a good song. I did not like what the song was invoking in me. It was basically a lot of bad feelings, a lot of feelings of abandonment, a feeling of loss actually, not lost, feeling of loss. I felt like I've lost people, I've lost relationships that I care about, I've lost myself. And all of that amalgamation just basically was my week. For the past few days, I have been having quite a big meltdown in general, in a sense that I'm sorry, I just zoned out a little bit. I've been having a lot of meltdowns, in a sense that I've been feeling a lot of bad things, and I feel like when I get like that, I feel very repulsive. I feel like I deter people from coming near me, and I might hurt them if they do come near me. And I become very repulsive. And for the past week, I've been feeling incredibly repulsive. I haven't done much. It hasn't been too unproductive, but it hasn't been very productive either. I just, it just happened. In terms of the stuff that I talked about in the last week, it has managed to put on a strain on me. I have been very isolated because I don't want to leave the house that much. And in general, I feel very isolated as well. I feel alone and abandoned. And those of you who know me know I have abandonment issues. So it's not been a fun week in that regard. And that has coupled with a lot of other things in terms of, again, as I feel in a slump, I haven't even like watched a lot of stuff. I need to watch a movie every week because of a film club thing on Telegram, the group that I'm in. And for this week, I need to watch Bugsy Malone. I have seen it quite a few times actually back in the day. I need to rewatch it though in order to write a review for it, and I haven't. It's an hour and a half movie, and I haven't even watched it, and that sucks. The same is true for my TV shows that I used to watch, and I need to. I feel like I've never catch up. That's the thing. I feel like I will never catch up, and that frightens me to some extent. I know I need to let things go, but I can't. That's the problem. I feel like I've been talking for almost like 9 minutes and I haven't said anything, even though I've said everything. That's the problem in this state of mind. But I've been in a slump, and part of it has been talking to a few people just in general about my relationships and my friendships. And I know the extent that I put on other people is unfair to both them and myself. The extent of expectations I put on them. This is not something good. And I'm sorry if you're a friend of mine and you're listening to this, I'm sorry about that. I really am. I mean, the week started with something bad and just compounded upon itself. And then I felt, oh, everyone just doesn't want me in their life. And that feeling isn't good, especially for someone who has abandonment issues and feels like at any moment people may abandon him for reasons outside of his understanding. I'm not going to say purview, understanding is a better word. And in general, I look around and I feel myself being stuck. Like I have a daily planner that I write in it daily stuff, and I haven't written in it for the last 3 days. I need to just go back and write in that again. The movie that I haven't watched, there's been a few, probably weeks since I've written in my journal. I'm just tired. I'm not burnt out. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just tired. And with everything, May is coming on. And the thing is, for those of you who remember last year, I talked about feeling of burnt out because I was burnt out because of the thing I did for June. I watched the movie every day. This year, I'm doing it in May. I'm gonna watch 15 movies, have a day off, watch 15 more movies. And just the prospect of it is frightening right now, but I need to do it. I owe it to myself to do it because I don't think I can not do it and survive. I know that doesn't make sense, but if I don't do it, I may never get out of this slump. On top of that, there are other stuff. There are proposals and articles that I'm writing with my friend. There is the usual plans I have for the future, what stuff that I need to do in order to get those plans. And on top of that, again, I need to make a movie for the course. And even though we're a team, the directorial um, burdens have been put on my shoulder. To be honest, I basically volunteered for it. And on top of that, there are other stuff that I just want to do. Like I want to make more crafting stuff and stuff like that. And and on top of that, there are like I want to be there for my friends. I want to listen to them. I want to understand them. I want them to not feel abandoned the way I do. So I don't want to abandon them. And as I said, I'm not feeling burnt out yet, but I feel future overwhelmation. Like, in the future, I might be very overwhelmed. But then another thing happened. A couple of days ago, I woke up at 2 a.m. because my sleeping schedule is a mess. And for a moment, I felt broken. I felt incredibly broken. I felt like nothing could save me. And at that moment, the thought came into my head that if I die at this point, would anyone notice? Thankfully, I said it in my channel, people came to my aid and reminded me that, yeah, they would notice. And that's, I know I'm a attention whore, a validation whore, but that did help. That I'm not gonna lie, that made me smile and actually made me feel much better. I know the constant. I can ask people to constantly tell me those stuff, but if you listen to this and you know me, just tell me that stuff. It sometimes does actually help to jumpstart me from feeling stuck and broken. And throughout the week, I talked about Edgar Allan Poe. I talked to my friend about his story, and I brought out one of the notebooks. I have many notebooks because I have a problem. I do actually have a problem. I have too many notebooks. I just see a notebook that I like and I buy it, and it's not like I dedicate it to a project. And even if the project fails, I don't reuse the notebook, so the notebook becomes for that project, and it's a mess. I'm not gonna lie, it's a fucking mess. And I brought one of my notebooks that I have for the novel that I was writing called Goodbye Beautiful. And one of the characters in that novel, I'd argue the main one, was the personification of death or Tartarus. And I was talking about Edgar Allan Poe and Raven as well. Cove the Raven Nevermore. Actually, my friend drew a picture and I have it in front of me. It's an incredible picture. It has a skull, a raven, and Edgar Allan Poe's face. And it's great. If you listen to this, thank you for giving that to me for my birthday. It's so cool. Um, what I was saying. Oh, yeah. Death. And it got me thinking about death, whether or not it has a meaning. And I don't think it does. I think we put meaning onto death. And that's the whole reason in that novel I was writing. I might go back to it at some point. Is that death is benevolent. It doesn't care. It doesn't do it because it's cruel. It doesn't do it because it's merciful. It just does it because it's what it does. There is just an end. Whether you see it as cruel, as merciful, as poetic, as anything, is your perception to it. The act itself is neutral. It's pointless. And that got me thinking about my own death. And I don't like to think about my own death because I have a massive existential crisis. I know after death is probably nothing. I don't believe in an afterlife, and thus I feel incredibly bad about the fact that whatever I'm doing will be pointless, and I don't want to think about it. I'm actually giving myself an anxiety attack right now thinking about it, so I'm not going to think about it. But I just in general don't like it. I have not come to grips with it, and it's not something I think a lot of therapists can help with either, at least at this point in my life, with death being so close to me at all corners. For that, listen to season 7. Does death have a meaning? I don't know. All I want is that when I die, people remember me fondly. You know, the way I remember the people I care about fondly, the way I remember my friend Ashkan, the way I remember my grandfathers, the way I remember my father's uncle, the way I remember people fondly. I want them to remember me fondly, even if they don't, if they seen me only once. The way I remember Christopher Lee fondly, even though I never met the guy, I just know him from his movies and like the obsessive research I've done into his life. I just want that. I want people to remember me fondly. The problem is that I don't think they will. I don't mean fondly, I don't think they will remember me much, and that's the problem. I don't know what to do in that case. Anyways, this episode is one of those that I would call a mess. I wanted to come in and talk about another show I've been watching, Hypothetical. I'm trying to find a show to replace 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown now that I've caught up with that. And in the middle of it, it's not been a good week. It's been a bad one. It's been a highly anxious one. It's been one that I slept for most of it, and when I was awake, I wish I was sleeping. It's the one where I met a lot of friends, I talked with a lot of friends, and at the end of it, I always feel like a bird, and I feel like nobody actually wants me. And I hate feeling that because it might be true, you know? Maybe nobody does want me. Then what? It's a lot of insecurities, and I don't know why I'm sharing it with people online. Actually, that's one of the things one of my friends made a mention of. Why do you share it? Why do you share your feelings so much? And I don't know why. I feel like if I do, they might be validated, you know? And that's toxic, in a sense, to myself, to always look for external validation, but yeah. The Ted Lasso episode wasn't bad. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't bad. It was really good. The Succession episode, this last one was perfect. This one was pretty good. Anyways, don't forget to send me a message on Anchor if you listen to this on a Spotify, and Anchor doesn't exist. Don't forget to send me a voice message. There's probably a link in the description. If you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will read your comment on the episode. And if you're on Castbox, also comment on there. I do have Castbox on my phone, and I will get a notification. I will see you next week, VPN pending. Yeah, that's another thing.